Well then boys, welcome back to the channel. It's another day, another video from the Journey to 1,000 Pound series. It's a powerlifting journey. We started at the start of January of 2024 and we'll go through all the way to the end of April of 2024, where we're trying to go from 860 pounds to 1,000 pounds lifted between our three main power lifts, namely being bench, squats and deadlift. And today will be episode 5 and it will be a deadlift session. It will be the deadlift update for the month of February, where we'll try to attempt a PR and also go through a couple working sets afterwards as well. And currently, prior to going into the session, we're at 910 pounds lifted between our three main power lifts, so we still have 90 pounds to go, but we're making good progress, and we'll see if we can actually improve that number today with the deadlift session. And prior to going into the session itself as well, we're going to go through a quick summary clip, which will give you guys a great overview of the whole series and get you guys caught up to date if you've never watched one of my videos. And with all that being said, let's go into the summary clip, and then I'll see you guys on the other side on the lifted session. All right, okay, peace out. Hey, hello there guys, welcome back. Now we're gonna go through the summary clip, which is gonna be like somewhat of a quick overview of what we're trying to do throughout the whole series. And in this summary clip, we're gonna be discussing three major parts. The first part is gonna be discussing what's our goals. The second part is gonna be discussing how we plan to get to those goals. And thirdly, we're gonna be discussing how we're gonna go about documenting the whole journey. So let's jump straight into part 1 of the summary clip, which is gonna be what's our goal. So in terms of our goal is gonna be twofolds for this journey. The first part of our goal is going to be a powerlifting goal, where we're trying to lift 1,000 pounds combined between our three main power lifts, namely bench, squats and deadlift. And this started at the start of January of 2024 and will go all the way through to the end of April of 2024. So it's a 4-month journey, and at the start of the journey, our total lift combined between our three main lifts was 860 pounds. So this 860 pounds included a 225 pound bench, a 355 pound deadlift, and a 280 pound squat. So our goal is to gain 140 pounds of basically weight lifted gained in 4 months. So yeah, it's a big ambitious goal, so it's going to be an interesting journey for sure. And the second part of our goal is going to be a flexibility goal. So I'm really tight. No, my whole body is pretty tight, but I'm trying to get looser and I'm trying to get more flexible and more agile. And we're going to be tracking our flexibility as we go along for the 4 months, but we're going to be focusing on 5 major stretches, 5 major compound stretches, which mainly focus on the hip area and the lower body area, which is where I'm the tightest at. So these 5 stretches are going to be the split, which is going to include the front and side split, the standing hip to knee stretch, the pancake, the pigeon pose, and lastly the reclining hero, which hit all the major parts where I'm the tightest at. So those are our goals. Now we're going to go into part 2, which is going to be discussing how do we plan to achieve those goals. So for part 2, we're going to be breaking it down into part 2A, which is going to be more focused on powerlifting, and part 2B, which is going to be focused on flexibility. So for part 2A, we'll be discussing how we plan to achieve our powerlifting goals. And for powerlifting, just like any other physical endeavor, is going to be focused on 2 major aspects, which is going to be training and diet. So starting with the diet, it's just pretty straightforward for my diet. I'm just trying to do like a bunch of task list bullet points. The first one is going to be trying to consume a caloric surplus every day of 300 calories, and second thing is going to be consuming 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and third part is going to be consuming 5 to 10 grams of creatine every single day, and lastly we'll make sure to sleep at least 8 hours every night to induce muscle growth basically. And this is being done completely natural with just creatine and protein supplements being taken. So with the diet out the way, now let's move on to the training. So in terms of training, in order to improve our powerlifting numbers, we're going to be focusing on 3 main aspects. The first part is going to be technique, the second part is going to be hypertrophy, and the third part is going to be neural adaptation. So let's briefly go through all 3 and see how we can use them to improve our powerlifting numbers. So then let's start off with technique. So technique is like an easy way of improving your powerlifting numbers without actually having to build more muscle or having to recruit more muscle. So technique is all about improving your body mechanics and improving your lift efficiency. And the way we plan to do this is by recording ourselves while doing our lifts, and through watching ourselves basically lift the lifts, we'll be able to see where we can improve our technique and where our weak links are in the lifts and where we need to do more work on specific muscle groups. And not only would technique help improve the powerlifting numbers, but would also help me keep me safe from any injury that could be associated with any of the lifts. And so that's technique. Number 2 is going to be hypertrophy, which is all about muscle, and it's all about building more muscle. And the way to do this is obviously by creating micro tears in the muscle and dieting well and sleeping well in order for the muscle to build back stronger and better. And the way we're going to be going about doing this in the gym is through the power lifts, number 1. Number 2, through isolated exercises after we do our power lifts. So the way we plan to train is by splitting our sessions into 3 sessions of push, pull, or legs, which start off with free weight compound exercises and then move on to machine isolated exercises to finish off our workouts. And thirdly, we're going to go through neural adaptation. Neural adaptation basically means improving your muscle recruitment ability and also improving your coordination and your body's ability to handle stress. And the way to do this is by putting your body through heavy load, low rep exercises, which prime your body to being okay with handling a lot of weight, number 1, and it will teach it to recruit more muscle to lift the weights stronger every time. And it will also improve your coordination so that you actually lift more without having to recruit more muscle. So through heavyweight low rep exercises, we'll be able to achieve better neural adaptation and lift heavier weights. And the problem with all this is I'm doing heavy sets, high intensity, all of that. So it's going to take a lot of stress on the body, on the muscles, and especially on the nervous system, which is going to diminish our lift capabilities. So we have to make sure we take adequate rest between our sessions. So I'll be taking a minimum of 2 days rest and a maximum of 4-day or 5-day rest, depending on how I'm feeling, but a minimum of 2 days between lifting sessions in order to make sure I'm well recovered and I'm not being injury prone or inducing any plateaus in terms of our lifts. So that is it for our powerlifting goal. Now let's move on to our flexibility goal. For flexibility goals, the way we plan to achieve our goals is by doing 30-minute full body stretches prior to bedtime every other night, not every single night, in order because when you stretch, you kind of tear the muscles in a sense, so you need a bit of recovery time. But we'll do it every other night, and we'll do 30-minute body stretches, but we'll focus more on the 5 major stretches by holding those ones for 1.5 minutes compared to the other ones, which will only hold for 30 seconds to a minute at a time. And so that is it for how we plan to achieve our goals. Now let's move on to part 3. Well then, boys, welcome to the last part of the summary clip, which is going to be where we'll be discussing how we're going to go about documenting our journey. So for this journey, we're going to be posting 3 videos every month. The first one is going to be for a bench session. The second one is going to be for a deadlift session. And the third one is going to be for a squat session. And the last video of every month will also contain a flexibility update to show our progress for the month in terms of our flexibility, and mainly in terms of our 5 major stretches. And the last month in April, instead of doing 3 videos, we'll only do 1 video, which will act like a finale to our series, where we'll do all our 3 main lifts in the same day and in the same video, as well as do 1 final flexibility update to finish off the series. So in total, there will be 10 videos, 3 videos every month, except for April, which will only have 1 video. And that is everything for our summary. Now let's go back to the lifting session with a future Eba. So I'll see you guys there. All right, peace out. Well then, ladies and girls and boys and men, welcome back. Well then, everybody, welcome back. Now we're gonna go into the deadlift session, and as usual, we're gonna work our way up to a PR set and then do 2 more working sets afterwards. So yeah, this is the first of a few warm-up sets over here. The first one is going to be with the 185, and with these warm-up sets, as usual, we try to prime our body mechanics and act like it's a lot of weight on us, so that we're primed by the time we get to our PR set, and our mind and nervous system and the body is ready, and the muscles have good blood flow in them, so everything is ready so we can output maximal force. So yeah, here we are. Now we finished with the 185, so we're going to jump up. It's going to be a big jump this time, so we're going to go up to 275 and keep going at it again. With these ones, let's talk about the form over here. Now this is what I want to do for bench right here. I think this is just perfect what I have right now. At the start, it's almost I want my ass parallel with my knees over here as much as I possibly can. My back is pretty straight. My chest is puffed out. My lats are engaged on each side, and my arms are pointing vertically upwards this way. So it's like perfect mechanics over here. Now let's see, as we keep going, do we maintain this form? So as I keep going, see my hip hinges a bit too fast up, so it kind of forces. Now instead of my arm facing right up. It's actually facing a bit to the side over here. So that is not optimal in terms of technique. So definitely need to make sure I come up in a bit of a slower fashion so that my hip doesn't raise up too fast. And again, the same thing. It's like a bit too far forward. It looks like I'm doing rows, you know, back bent over rows. So yeah, I need to make sure I don't raise my hip up too fast and do it in a conjoined fashion where the hip raises as the glutes engage, basically. So yeah. And anyways, with the form discussion out the way, I guess we just did a 315. Now we're gonna move on, add 25 pounds on that on each side. So we're gonna do a 365. This is the last warm-up set prior to the PR attempt. So yeah, here we are. That was not too bad in terms of the form over there compared to the previous sets. So that's not too bad. And here is the PR attempt. So let's go into the PR attempt and see. First of all, let's see if you can lift it. And second of all, then let's discuss then the form and mindset I was in prior to the lift. And here we are, and just could not lock it out. So it was a failed PR attempt of a 405. It would have been a big jump. Anytime you hit a new plate is always a fun and exciting time. So I was really, really disappointed that I got that close, but I just could not lock it out. So the problem with this started at the start over here, where again, this is good, but then the hip raises up way too fast every time. The hip does not need to be that high, because when it's that high, then I have a problem bringing my ass forward. So definitely need to work on puffing my chest out, engaging my lats as much as I can, dropping my hips and pulling with the whole body and not pulling with the back, because I think we're just naturally just used to using our back to lift stuff. So it's just like it's a bad habit I need to let go of, because not only is it going to be a bad form, but it might induce some back injuries, and I don't want to fucking have that shit, man. It's going to be a lifelong struggle if you sustain a back injury. So yeah, for sure, definitely need to make sure I have it in my mind next time when I do deadlift sessions, to make sure I drop my hip way more than I'm doing right now. So yeah. But with all that being said, now we're going to move on to the first of two working sets. The first working set, I always try to do more of a neural adaptation working set, where I try to do very heavy weights for low reps so that my nervous system and my neurons fire properly in order to recruit more muscle, and my body gets accustomed to handling heavy weight, and my coordination and my weight pulling ability basically improves the more I do heavyweight low rep exercises. So that's why we did 3 reps on that set of 335s. And with the first set of our working sets out the way, this is the second working set, and yeah, this is going to be a drop set. So we're going to start with the 275s and then work our way down until we fucking can't anymore. So yeah, here we are again with these ones. Almost on every single rep, my hip is always way too high, and my arm positioning is not completely vertical. It always has an angle to it, and my chest is puffed out at the start, but then it just kind of fucking caves in as we go up. So yeah, I have a good amount of work to do in that department for sure. So next time, make sure hips are lower, chest is puffed out, lats are engaged, and when I come up, engage the glutes way more. Learn to squeeze them in at the top, because I just come up without even thinking about the glutes. So yeah, I have a lot to work on in terms of the form for deadlift for sure. But yeah, we're just gonna double speed it now, because I think it's just getting a bit too long, I guess. But yeah, with these ones, always on the working sets, try to lower them at a very, very, very slow pace, because that's just gonna build strength whenever you do those exercises. So as you guys can see, when I lower stuff, I always take my time with it. I never just drop it, because I just want to work those stabilizing muscles, especially as well on the way up and on the way down. So if you work them on the way down, it just makes you stronger on the way up. So yeah, that's my logic anyways. But here we are. Now we're going to move on to 225s. We just dropped the 25-pound plates on each side, and once we're done with that, we're going to drop those again and put the 25s back on, take the 45s off, and do our last drop set of 185 to finish off the lifting session for today. And yeah, here we are. See, the lower the weight gets, the better my form gets. So yeah, definitely need to make sure the form is improved for next time, not only so that we can hit our PR, but also that we don't induce any injuries on ourselves. But yeah, with all that being said, that was the lifting session for today, guys. So we're still at 910 pounds, unfortunately, but definitely room for improvement in terms of technique. And as I said in the bench session, I just need to do way more lifts this time around and completely shift my focus towards powerlifting instead of bodybuilding, and focus on the 3 main lifts and any supplementary exercises to those lifts, not anything else, so that I can maximize my gains in terms of the numbers. So for sure, next time we should definitely be hitting 405. Our form should be massively improved, and should be a way better session. So yeah, that is it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and like, subscribe, share all that bullshit, and I'll come back tomorrow for a squat session to finish off our February update and get the show on the road halfway through the series already. So yeah, it's exciting. But yeah, see you tomorrow. Peace out.